Hey guys, so yesterday we talked about domains. Recall that there are three of them: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. There are 6 kingdoms that we're going to need to know. 2 of them we already talked about yesterday. So domain bacteria is also kingdom bacteria. Okay, those are going to be your unicellular prokaryotes. Those are your germs. Domain archaea also is a kingdom archaea. So domain and kingdom archaea, they're both unicellular prokaryotes. Remember that they are extremophiles, so they like extremely hot places, extremely salty places, extremely wet places, extremely pressurized places down at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, so they like all the extremes. The last domain is domain eukarya. And within domain eukarya, there are 4 kingdoms. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And if you look up at the wall, you can see that in the spider web, there are 4 strings that come out of domain eukarya. So that's where your 4 kingdoms are going to come from. So let's jump in. So we're starting with kingdom protista or protist. Okay, these are kind of not fitting in anywhere else. They're not a fungus, they're not a plant, they're not an animal, but they're sort of like them. Okay, my professor used to call this the everything else kingdom. When you didn't know where to put something, you put it in here. You ever have that junk drawer in your kitchen and you come home with some knickknack from a store and you just don't know where to put it, so you throw it in the junk drawer? Well, that's exactly what's happening here, is scientists don't know where to put some stuff. So they throw them in kingdom protista. Okay, so it's the odds and ends kingdom. Some of these guys are autotrophs, some are heterotrophs, some are unicellular, some are multicellular. So you already see an issue. We don't really have a pattern. It's a little bit of everything. Some of them can photosynthesize, some of them can't. Some of them are one cell, some of them are many cells. Okay, so we already have an issue coming up where these guys are just kind of the junk drawer of science. Okay. So here's a picture. Slime molds. These guys are really cool. We're going to jump into these guys in a few weeks. Slime molds, they live all by themselves in a unicellular organism, but when they need to come together, they all come together here in this group, and they make one baby as a group. Amoebas, these guys are really cool. They can eat your brain. So some people might think they're not cool because they eat your brain. Jumping down here, Paramecium, these guys live in water, so maybe we can get to look at some of these if we can get some pond water. Diatoms are really useful. They're actually in your toothpaste. So these guys are really strong. They have a really hard cell wall. So they actually scrub the gunk off your teeth when you brush them. So these guys are totally fine. They're not going to hurt you in any way. They're just used to scrub the crud off your teeth at the end of the day. Okay. Kingdom fungi. Yes, next we're on to our next kingdoms. These are your mushrooms, molds, and mildews. So mushrooms are going to be stuff you eat. Molds are going to be no good. If you leave your towel sit out, you might get moldy. And mildew might grow in your bathtub if you don't clean it enough. Most of these guys are multicellular eukaryotes, so they have more than one cell, and they have a nucleus. Okay, the only one that is not multicellular is yeast, and yeast is going to be what we play with in the fart lab eventually once we get there. Okay, but all of the rest of them are going to be multicellular eukaryotes, and yeast is still a eukaryote. It still has a nucleus. Okay, all of these are going to be heterotrophs as well. What that means is they have to eat food. We're going to talk about specifically how they eat food a little bit later on. They're going to absorb nutrients from dead or decaying organisms. Okay, so this is going to be why you see mushrooms laying around in the forest. They like to grow on dead leaves or dead branches or dead trees. You get yeast, or you can get yeast to grow in tubes, just like we're going to do for the fart lab. If you've ever had athlete's foot, I've had it from time to time. It's when you wear socks too much. You actually get a fungal infection in your toes or between your toes. So they're heterotrophs, so they're actually going to be eating the dead skin off of your toes. Okay? The third one is going to be plantae, or if you just take out the A, plant. Okay, these are all multicellular eukaryotes. Multicellular, again, means having more than one cell. Eukaryote means that they have a nucleus. Most plants are going to live on land. However, many of them are still going to be aquatic. Autotroph means that they can make their own food automatically. Remember that word, automatically. So they're going to photosynthesize. They provide food for us heterotrophs. So every food chain, I know we haven't talked about food chains yet this year, food chains are always going to start with a plant because the plant gets eaten by a mouse, and then the mouse gets eaten by a snake, and then the snake gets eaten by a bird, and so on and so forth. So they're going to provide food for us heterotrophs. Some of them have flowers and some don't. Some grow tall and others don't. So we have flat plants like moss. We have big tall plants like trees, and we have everything in between. Like this picture, we just have some kind of plant that might get planted out in a garden. And last but not least is Animalia. If you take the 2 letters off the end, it's just animal. So this is the animal section. So this is where we live. We humans are animals, okay? We're not a fungus, we're not a plant, so we have to be animals, okay? So all of these, I'm making you write a lot, are multicellular, eukaryotic, and heterotrophic. So break down all of those words one more time. Multicellular means more than one cell. Eukaryotic means true nucleus. And heterotrophic means we have to eat food in order to survive. So animals live all over the place. The coldest areas, the warmest areas, sandy, icy, snowy, rocky, the bottom of the ocean. Animals live everywhere there is. I want to highlight this nice bison right here. Oh yeah. We got all kinds of animals shown on this picture. So that's it for right now. You need to go back to Google Classroom and figure out what you need to do next, or look at the whiteboard. Hopefully this went well for you, and good luck on your next thing.